Hey there, welcome to FiddleHed Fiddle Lessons. Are you struggling to get a nice sound when you play the violin? If so, here are 3 bowing techniques to help you get a better sound. First is to play at different volumes. Second is throwaway bow. And the third is to play in different parts of the bow. Let's dive deeper into why these are good practices and how to do them. So the first way to improve your sound with the bow on the violin is to play at different volumes. You can start in the middle of the bow with short, basic strokes. This is a medium conversational volume. Just little bows. These are eighth notes, 1 and 2, and you can also do quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then simply play with the volume level. So I would recommend starting by, next step, doing it much more quietly, like a whisper. And then, so when you do the whisper bow, you use barely any bow, like a millimeter of bow, very little pressure. And then work your way back towards medium, and then get loud with more bow and more pressure. And then return to a conversational tone and see if it feels different after taking that journey. A lot of the way I like to teach is practice journeys. You start in one place, you kind of meander along, and then you return to where you began, but you're transformed because you've learned something along the way. And so we continue to take these journeys and return and say like, oh, what feels different now? So hopefully by playing with the different volume levels, you learn to map out how it should feel, how the movements should go, what it should sound like, and all these different things are interacting with you as you play. One last practice I'll give you is a game called Soft, Loud, Soft. Basically start at a soft volume, doing eighth notes. Gradually get louder until it's a deafening roar, and then get really quiet, and then repeat again. And so with this game and the other practices I gave, there's a lot of very simple variations that even an absolute beginner could do. One is to simply do all the practices on all the strings, on G string. Another variation is to take any rhythms you learn and do that with the practice. So say you're learning tucka on A string. Slowly get louder. And so on. I think that's it for the volume practice. Play with that, see how it goes. The next bowing technique for getting a good sound is something I call throwaway bow. This really helps you just sink into a good sound. So here's how you do it. Place the bow around the lower third of the bow. You could really place it anywhere, but I recommend starting here. And then almost as if your right hand is dropping, just bow down bow. It's almost like the weight just drops. You feel gravity pull your arm down. Like this bow is made of iron. And do that a bunch of times. It's like you release a lot of energy when you do it. It's almost like you've played the last note of a concert. Thank you, good night. Think of that every time you do this. So you can also do it up bow, start more towards the upper third. Be really dramatic with this exercise. And so what this does is it really helps you explore the proper volume level. So after you've done it down bow and up bow, you can alternate
down, then up, and then continue to do that a few times. Do this very slowly, and then you can try to just bow with the bow on the strings, but maintain that big sound you got with the throwaway bow. It's a big, bold sound. Don't worry if it
is kind of scratchy at first. You're just trying to be more fearless with your bowing with this exercise. Plus it's fun. And you can do this for your entire fiddle journey, because as you learn tunes, you can apply it to different parts of tunes or classical pieces even. So let's say you're learning a Bach piece and you want to improve the sound on that. You could take each note and then use throwaway bow. And you keep building out each little part so that every note sounds good. So the last idea for getting a good sound with the bow on the violin is to divide the bow into thirds. I've put pieces of tape roughly like this. I didn't measure it anything, I just eyeballed it. I don't think it's necessary, but I think some people want to obsess over that, and feel free to do that. And anyhow, the idea is that the bow is going to feel different in each part of the bow. It will be easiest, most likely, for you to play in the middle. So I recommend starting there, and just as a rule of thumb with bowing, to bow in the middle with short strokes. If you ever find you're struggling with something, return to short strokes. And so do everything we've done already in the middle of the bow. You can do your patterns, different volumes, throwaway bow, everything else in the middle of the bow, and then try to do everything, all those same things in the upper third of the bow. Notice how it feels different. I'm not going to say anything yet. I want you to practice it on your own. At the end, I will say what people commonly find with this. Then try everything in the lower third. Maybe you can try different rhythms like hoedown. See how it feels different there. And as you move between the thirds, you'll get better at each third, and it paves the way for you to play a whole bow. This is actually, playing with long bows is actually a pretty advanced thing to get right, but playing in the different parts of the bow prepares you for that. Now, a note for people doing fiddle music, most fiddle music happens in the middle of the bow with very little bow. But I like to teach in a way that opens you up to playing any style of music. I like to teach to violinists, fiddlers, whatever style you want to learn, because music is infinite and there's really no boundaries other than the ones we create to talk about it. But the music itself is unbounded. Sorry for that fiddlosophy aside. So you can practice in each third of the bow, do everything you know. And the last thing I'll say, just as a general bowing note, is to do lots of bowing practice on open strings. For the first year, perhaps, that you play. Don't take it for granted, your sound. Your sound is something you will continuously need to develop. Go back to the beginner hold. Place your left hand on the fiddle, right hand, bow, open strings, and just play with the bow, do patterns, do string crossing, do whatever you need to do, and then move into your other practice. If you're an absolute beginner, I recommend bowing on open strings for a little while before even beginning left-hand fingering. If it were up to me, it would be like a month, but it's more realistic for people to do it for a week, because people tend to get bored and they want to see a result more quickly. So you may want to limit the time you just bow on open strings. But in each practice session, I recommend you do that. It's a great practice. All right, well, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. I remake these basic fundamental videos from time to time because new questions arise. So if you still have any questions on how to get a sound, please let me know. Go to FiddleHed.com for a progressive, step-by-step course outline, color-coded tabs, play-along tracks, sheet music, and much more. Thanks for watching the video. Excellent! And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.